Our journey through East Tibet begins in Derge, the former capital of the largest kingdom in the Tibetan province of Kham. Approximately 70,000 people live in Derge today. As in all large Tibetan cities, one recognizes the Chinese influence in the increasing number of buildings in steel and concrete. But there is also a historical Tibetan district in which almost all houses are built traditionally with wood. Above to the right, you see the largest monastery of the city, Sakya Gönchen. This is Derge Parkang, the Derge printing house. It is one of the few Buddhist buildings that was not destroyed during the Chinese Cultural Revolution. The archive stores woodblock templates for more than 4,000 Buddhist texts. Using these wooden blocks, the books are produced using traditional Tibetan methods. The individual two-man team work in friendly competition. Whoever prints his number of pages first is the winner. For the Tibetans, it is an honor to be allowed to work here. In order to increase the durability of the woodblocks, they are coated with yak butter from time to time and dried in the sun. In this department, the spelling errors are corrected. For this, a new piece of wood has to be inserted into the printing block, into which the new letter is then chiseled. The production of new printing blocks is a very fine handicraft. First, the mirror image of the letters are written into the blocks, and then the wood is chiseled with very sharp tools. These men are making prayer flags. Similar to the book printing process, the material here is also printed with texts or motifs. Prayer flags are hung in Tibet to increase good wishes and carry them throughout space with the wind. There are different prayer flags for different occasions. This is Sakya Gönchen, the main monastery of the Sakya school in Derge. The Sakya school is one of the 4 main Buddhist schools in Tibet. The Sakyapas are traditionally the dominant Buddhist school in the Derge region. At the monastery, we were received by the highest Lama, Sonam Wangpo Rinpoche. Rinpoche is the honorific title given to highly realized lamas.
Flower like this is we say non-japa.
Because of his title, Rinpoche spent many years during the Cultural Revolution imprisoned by the Chinese. As with all the other High Lamas, he was accused and arrested under the pretext of exploiting the farmers. Despite everything, he stayed in Tibet after his release, and is today the head of the Sakyapas in Derge. He told us about a Sakya yogi who had spent 30 years of his life meditating in retreat and had just died a few days ago. After his cremation, his heart, tongue and eyes were found in the ashes, melted together in a clump. Rinpoche encouraged us to inspect and film these relics and show them in the West. He wrote a letter for us, which was supposed to give us unhindered access to the relics. He assured us that the highest meditation methods of the Buddhist Diamond Way had not died out, but rather they are currently spreading in Tibet. In a store in Derge, we discovered this photo of the relics of a Nyingmapa yogi. These pieces of the yogi's bone with self-arisen Buddha forms were found like this in the ashes after the cremation. Nothing was engraved into them. One can recognize the forms of limitless life, loving eyes, Guru Rinpoche, Liberatrix, and a stupa. From Derge, we began our excursion to the mountains. It is late summer in Kham, mid-September. This monastery on the mountain is Dzongsa, another significant monastery of the Sakya school. It became famous in the 19th century at the time of the so-called Kampa Renaissance. This man is a Kampa and can be recognized by the red ribbon in his hair. He is completing a mani stone in which the mantra Om Mani Padme Hung is engraved. Dzongsa is famous for its Shedra, or monastic university, at which over 500 students study Buddhism. Like almost all Tibetan educational establishments, the Shedra is reserved for ordained monks. At the end of the valley, you find Khago, perhaps the most significant retreat place of the Sakya school in Tibet. Khago is considered a power place of the Buddha Loving Eyes and has a long yogi tradition within the Sakya school. During the Cultural Revolution, all of the huts were destroyed. Khenpo Senje first came to Khago in the 1990s to revive the meditation tradition at this place. He meditated alone for the first 4 years, until the initial students gradually began to gather around him. More than 300 nuns and monks from all areas of Tibet live in Khago today. This is a typical retreat cabin from the inside. The only source of warmth is this table stove. A tanka of Virupa, an Indian yogi and forefather of the Sakya tradition. Every resident of Khago has to provide for himself and take care of the daily work, such as chopping wood or washing clothes. The only thing that reminds you of the 21st century here are the solar cells and the batteries, which are used to produce light. This monk is taking a break between meditation sessions. The normal retreat program consists of 4 sessions of 2 to 2.5 hours per day. Here is the smallest house in Cargo. This rock niche is maybe 9 square meters wide and approximately 1.3 meters high. There is no heater. This monk has lived here for 3 years. There isn't a bed in this house. The yogi sits day and night in his meditation box and tries not to sleep during the night, but rather stay in meditation. He tells us about his initial reaction, saying, "The first nights I dozed off, but now it's going well." He and 150 other monks from Cargo have promised not to return to a worldly life or to a monastery. They stay here, or go to even more secluded places in the mountains. On this side of the mountain, you find Cargo's new district, the nuns' quarters. As with all other retreat places we visited, there are more women than men in Cargo who have chosen this path. First, individual cabins were built on the mountainside. In the meantime, they've changed to a more efficient row house construction in order to accommodate the rapidly increasing need for housing. In Cargo, during former centuries, many meditation masters have realized the so-called rainbow body, through which the yogis can transform the energy of the body into light at the time of death, and not leave anything behind except for hair and fingernails. The retreat master Khenpo Senje, who has been in China for many weeks for medical treatment, is returning home today. His students are preparing his reception. To celebrate his return, the retreat program will be stopped, and a type of festival will take place in the meditation hall. There is a meal together, where homemade videos of the activities of the lamas are shown. This is Khenpo Senje, the founder of Cargo and one of the greatest meditation masters of the Sakya school in Tibet.
I should have kept 20 now.
After being together in the meditation hall in the morning, Khenpo Senje goes with his students to a nearby meadow. They pass the time with running games or spontaneous theatre. One notices that the residents of Cargo are a close-knit community. However, there is a strict, ever-present distinction between monks and nuns.
We're going to find you then.
In the evening, we had the opportunity to speak with Khenpo Senje. We asked him if there is a difference between the former retreat places of the yogis from several centuries ago and those of today in Cargo. He answered that the yogis here previously flew from mountain to mountain. Today, you don't see anyone who can fly anymore. It is now the time that Buddhism in Tibet gradually disappears, just as the historical Buddha Shakyamuni had predicted. Even in the Karma-Kagyu school of Tibetan Buddhism, which is famous for its great yogis like Milarepa, there isn't anyone today who can fly. At the end of the conversation, he asked about our meditations. We showed him a meditation booklet with the original text attached in Tibetan. After he had read the meditation, he started asking us questions. He wanted to know how good our understanding of the meditations are in the West. His final words to us were, "You must always know exactly what you are doing when you meditate." Before our departure, Khenpo Senje showed us another movie that his students had filmed at the end of a poem meditation. During the poem, the participants learned to send their consciousness at the moment of death to a realm of meaning and joy. As an outer sign of successful practice, a small opening on the skulls of the participants is produced, through which the consciousness leaves the body at the moment of death. In Tibet, at the end of the poem, a blade of grass is put into this hole to demonstrate the successful results of the meditation. Our next destination was located beyond any roads. We were going to one of the caves in which the pioneer and trailblazer of the Diamond Way in Tibet meditated 1,300 years ago, the Indian yogi Guru Rinpoche, or Padmasambhava. For our approaching 7-day journey into the mountains, 2 horses accompanied us that transported our provisions and supplies. And that is our destination, the two bright rocks bearing the name Pema Shelpuk, or the Crystal Lotus Cave. Guru Rinpoche said that Pema Shelpuk is the holiest and most powerful site in all of Tibet. He used this location, together with his tantric consort, Yeshe Tsogyal. Many centuries later, hidden teachings from Guru Rinpoche that describe the nature of mind from the viewpoint of the yogi were found in Pema Shelpuk. These teachings have formed the basis of the Nyingmapa school of Tibetan Buddhism until present day. This is the smaller of the two Pema Shelpuk caves, where Yeshe Tsogyal meditated. And this is the cave of Guru Rinpoche, in front of which a house was later built. In Pema Shelpuk, we met this yogi, who had been meditating here for 5 years. Although he had taken a vow of silence, he said he would be willing to meet with us one afternoon and answer our questions. On the shelf behind, there is a book from Milarepa, the original yogi from Tibet. Nothing that you see in this room belongs to the yogi. Except for his robe, he does not have any possessions. His lama at Dzongdrukpa. Without trust and devotion to an authentic lama, a yogi cannot attain any results in meditation.
Interesting.
The wooden box is the only furniture in his room. Here he spends day and night in an upright position. These cassettes contain Buddhist teachings that he can listen to, with the help of a player powered by solar energy. In the first 2 years, the yogi had serious difficulties with the cold winter, when it gets down to minus 30 degrees. He has promised not to stop his retreat under any circumstances, and also not to return to a worldly life. Even when his mother died, he did not leave this place. The only physical activity that our yogi does consists of 3 circulations of the rock formation in the evening, the so-called kora. On the rocks of Pema Shelpuk, one finds many self-arisen signs. Here is the Tibetan letter R. Guru Rinpoche himself left this oversized symbolic footprint. Here, in the triangular rock formation, Chogyar Lingpa is supposed to have pulled out the hidden teachings of Guru Rinpoche. A footprint from Yeshe Tsogyal. Here, one can recognize the individual toes. On every 15th day of the month, the yogi performs a smoke offering. The main cave in which Guru Rinpoche meditated has been enlarged to a small meditation room. And this is Guru Rinpoche. In the 8th century, he was invited by the Tibetan king Trisong Detsun to come to Tibet from India in order to bring Buddhism here. According to legend, and even in current times, sky dancers or dakinis visit this place, and at dusk they dance in space like snowflakes in the wind. Tibetan eagles are powerful birds of prey. When standing, they reach a height of 1.2 meters. We leave Pema Shalpuk and cross a pass with an altitude of 5,000 meters. We are on the roof of the world. On the highest locations, Tibetans erect small relics towers, stupas, and hang prayer flags in order to bless and protect their valley. Our last view of the Crystal Lotus Cave. Our next destination was Kamo Taktsang, or the White Tiger's Nest. At this altitude, it was already autumn in Tibet. The hillsides transform into a sea of red and yellow. A Kampa woman, with typical heavy jewelry in her hair. Tibet from its most beautiful side. The last bit of forest on the way to Kamo Taktsang is covered with prayer flags. These young men spend 5 years of their lives here. They undergo the traditional Lama training and study various meditation methods. During the 5 years, they are allowed to leave the tract once a year, for 3 days for the Tibetan New Year's festival, Losar.
So this is practice of Okay, so the Rime, which means they practice all schools. They practice Satya.
After 5 years, they then return to the monastery from which they came in order to teach Buddhism.
Look, Samaya.
The cook. The entrance to the tiger's nest that is normally locked. Except for the participants of the examination, no one is allowed to enter into the caves. The rivers are the only possibility to transport logs. In this area, there are no roads. In this ice-cold water, the men carry out hard work. At the entrance to every village, one finds these monuments to enlightenment called stupas, and a wall of mani stones. These young monks are on a pilgrimage to the capital of Lhasa. They progress only through prostrations, a Buddhist practice in which blockages in the inner energy channels are dissolved. At this point in the trip, they have 7 months behind them and 9 months still ahead of them. They make 2,000 to 3,000 prostrations per day. The remains of rubber tires protect their shoes, and the leather aprons protect their clothing. They slide with their hands over the asphalt on wooden blocks. We ask them if their journey is ever interrupted by snow. They answer, snow is not a problem. You slide better. On a taxi ride, our driver shows us his teacher, Lama Dorjal, a wild yogi with dreadlocks, who has meditated in a solitary hut for 30 years. The inside of a Tibetan car is arranged like an altar and is a perfect source of information. Whenever the campers have a chance to dress up, they use it, such as here, a welcoming event for a reincarnated Lama who led the monastery in his last life and is coming to the monastery for the first time in this life. As was later revealed, this was the case of a money Lama who was discovered after his rich family gave money to the monastery. The blue lights of the vehicles show clearly that this ceremony is supervised by the Chinese administration and the People's Liberation Army. This means that the only people who are able to welcome the young Lama before he will ride with his horse to his monastery are the Chinese representatives. Had this been an authentic reincarnated Lama, thousands of Tibetans would have come. Yekundo is a large city in the north of Kham, and the area in which we would like to see the eyes, tongue, heart relics of the recently deceased Lama. On a rainy day, we visit the place where the yogi passed away. The residents of the village tell us some of the wonderful stories that they had experienced with their Lama in the past 30 years. The letter from the Rinpoche in Derge opens all kinds of doors for us. We are led into the house where the yogi has passed away. His ritual objects. A portrait that his students made of him. A photo of Lama Norzang in his younger years. And him 5 days after his death. He passed away in meditation posture, and his heart center was still warm 5 days after he died. This video was recorded by one of his students. Then they carried him out of the house. His retreat hut is located on a slope 40 minutes away from the village. In this hut, supposedly countless yogis had meditated before him. His last journey, before he will be cremated in a furnace built especially for him. In this hut, he meditated for the last 30 years of his life. This was his meditation box. Through all the years, he rejected the villagers' attempts to install an oven in his room. From this place, he answered the questions of the village residents. They could speak with him through this window without being able to see him. This valley, with its great caves, has been used by yogis wanting to retreat for a long time. Also here, there are footprints in the rocks by which the yogis demonstrate the illusion of all phenomena. In this series of pictures, we see Lama Norzang as he leads a Lama dance on the roof of his meditation hut. At the same time as his cremation began, 2 rainbows appeared around the sun. On the artificial flowers with which the cremation furnace was decorated, over the next few days there appeared small white pearls. The Tibetans say that these pearls developed from the burnt bones of the yogi as a parting gift to his students. After the cremation, the furnace will be sealed for 7 days. Even muddy ground cannot stop these Tibetans in their devotion. After 7 days, the seal will be removed and the ashes will be sifted through for relics. An unusual find. The eyes, tongue, and heart of the Lama have melted into one. For the monks, this is reason for much joy. For the first time, it is confirmed through this sign that Lama Norzang was a truly great yogi. During their lifetime, yogis tend to keep the measure of their realization secret. The relics will be kept in this chest. Lama Norzang with his closest students. He blesses the residents of the village for one last time with the relics. We were allowed to take a closer look at the relics. Both of the eyeballs,
You see other eye. And this is the heart.
the heart muscle, and the tongue.
It's a tongue, yeah?
Lama Norzang spent his whole life meditating on this meditation aspect called Naro Kachoma. Gotchi Gompa is a monastery of the Karma Kagyu school. It is famous for the high number of people who have realized Mahamudra there. This is the oldest Lama in the monastery. He is 82 years old. He is the last living witness who can tell of the Chinese invasion of 1951. Back then, all 500 residents of the monastery fled to the mountains out of fear of the Chinese. 4 months later, there were only 40 still alive. The others died from starvation, the cold, or were shot by the Chinese. In this photo of the 16th Karmapa, the leader of the Karma Kagyu school, impressions of his protection aspect developed at his heart center after the film had been processed. He had actually wanted to spend the rest of his life in retreat in the mountains. Only recently did he return to the monastery, as life in the caves had become too difficult for him. In the Gotchi Gompa, we heard about the retreat place for the Barom Kagyu school, where there is supposed to be a century-long unbroken yogi tradition. The leader of this meditation school is noted as one of the greatest living yogis of calm. The monastery of Kyodrak of the Barom Kagyu tradition is a several-hour journey by jeep from the nearest city. A view of the monastery from a cave where Guru Rinpoche meditated. The most remarkable building in this monastery complex is this tower. It is a reproduction of the tower that Milarepa, the founder of the yogi tradition, built for his teacher Marpa. The original still exists in southern Tibet after 950 years. In the rooms of the tower one finds statues of the lineage holders of the Kagyu tradition and their most important meditation aspects. This is Milarepa. Hamanobu, most likely the greatest yogi of the last century in Tibet. In the mountains above the monastery there is a retreat place rich in tradition, Lachi, named after a place where Milarepa once meditated. The new arrivals are taught on the lower levels. Most students must first learn to read and write before they can begin their meditation practice. The first student of the meditation master Sultran Dudul Rinpoche, who carries the title Lachi Siddha. Siddha means one who has developed supernatural abilities. In earlier years, the yogis of Lachi lived exclusively in caves. All the buildings one sees here were built after 1976, the end of the Cultural Revolution, when the Chinese had loosened their prohibition on the practice of religion. An unnaturally large footprint on the cliffs that is attributed to Guru Rinpoche. Legend says that Guru Rinpoche, in the wrathful form of Dorje Chorlo, flew to this point on a pregnant tigress. The tiger landed here on these cliffs and left these 7 paw impressions. This is Repa Tsultrim Tarchin in his white cotton robes together with his main student. Three years ago, he left these footprints on the cliffs. Before this house was built, Tsultrim Tarchin sat on this rock ledge for 6 years, in every type of weather and in every season. And there he is, the greatest living yogi in Tibet, Repa Tsultrim Tarchin. The greatest teachers of all meditation schools come to Lachi to learn from him. He has meditated in Lachi for 18 years and has promised never to leave this place. It is said that he lives only from 6 kernels of barley and a few sips of water per week. Repas practice a very advanced meditation, tumo, or inner heat, that has the effect of producing heat in the body. As an external sign of this, the Repas do not wear warm clothing, only thin cotton robes. Directly translated, Repa means the wearer of cotton. The growth of Lachi. All children come here of their own accord. Some even come here at the age of 6. One young boy was very wild and behaved impossibly. His parents asked a high lama for help, and he advised them to bring their child to the yogis. As soon as the boy arrived, he was content and happy. Our next destination is the oldest Karmakaju monastery in Tibet, the main headquarters of the Karmapas in Tibet. A small path leads out of the valley through a ravine to the monastery, built by the first Karmapa 850 years ago. Karmagun. The residents of this area defended their monastery so ferociously during the Cultural Revolution that the Chinese did not totally destroy it. The main foundation remained. Inside, basic renovations have been completed, but one can only imagine how splendid this powerful meditation hall must have been in past centuries. This 8-meter-tall Buddha statue was erected by the second Karmapa. He received the donations for this project from the Emperor of China, his most prominent student, 750 years ago. The Karmapa, who wears the black crown, was prophesied by the historical Buddha Shakyamuni. They are the first consciously reborn lamas in Tibet. Most Karmapas write a letter with information about their future place of rebirth and their parents before their death. In Tibet, the Karmapas are known as the king of yogis. The severely damaged mural paintings from the 15th century show the enlightened lineage holders of the Karma Kagyu school who can be traced back to the first millennium. To experience timeless highest joy, the goal in Buddhism, one needs a Lama who has recognized the nature of mind. The Karma Kagyu school has an uninterrupted transmission line of accomplished masters, dating back to the historical Buddha Shakyamuni. The Indian Mahasiddha Naropa, who transmitted the special meditation methods of the yogis to Tibet. These hoofprints in the rocks are from Dorje Legpa, a protector of the Karma Kagyu school who, according to tradition, rides a goat. These prints were found only in the last few years in the immediate vicinity of the monastery, proof that the power field created over the past 800 years is still active. On this mountain above the monastery, a cave is located in which the founder of Karmagon, the first Karmapa, Dusem Khenpa, meditated for a long time. Through this tunnel, you get to a ravine, and at its end is the cave. Karmapa, and the place where he meditated at the end of the long cave passage. This meadow, framed by trees in front of the monastery, served the Karmapas as a meeting place for empowerments. In Buddhist empowerments, the Lama transmits his experience of the true nature of mind to his students through a ritual. Without this direct transmission, students could not attain the results in their meditation practice. On the front side of the meadow, there is the diamond throne. On the opposite side are the stupas with the relics of the first 3 lineage holders of the Karma Kagyu school. The stupa in the middle contains the remains from the first Karmapa, Dusem Khenpa. The trees that surround the area come from China. The second Karmapa, Karmapakshi, brought them as seedlings from China 750 years ago, when the then ascendant leader, Kublai Khan, became his student. The scenic monastery Palpung is the headquarters of the Situpas, an incarnation line within the Kagyu school. This man is a living dinosaur. He is 99 years old. Few among us have seen the 16th Karmapa. This man took refuge with the 15th Karmapa. He was the retreat master here for 70 years. Today, he is deaf and can only see through one eye. He blessed us spontaneously with the recitation of these texts. In this house lives Sanjay Khandro, the only Buddhist woman who has a spiritual position within society who is not ordained as a nun. Her father with a prayer wheel. Already as a small child, she had visions of Guru Rinpoche. Later, she completed a 7-year meditation retreat with her hair tied to the ceiling of the cave at night so she could maintain an upright meditation posture. Sanjay Khandro is widely known for her intuitive insight. When difficult decisions need to be made, people come to ask her for a mo, a vision into the future. In the 3 months of our journey, we have seen several pilgrim groups, but never one with such a young participant. This boy is 5 years old. We asked the nuns why they took the child on such a long and arduous journey. They said they had tried to talk him out of it, but the boy had insisted on coming along. At first, the nuns were concerned that he did not have the strength to withstand the physical effort, which is why they first tested him on a short stretch. As it turns out, the boy is so strong and determined, he always hurries ahead of the group. He does not even take a break to answer our questions. This mountain is named after a female Buddha aspect, Red Wisdom, or Dorje Pamo, and the Tibetans claim that this Buddha lives on the mountain. On the hill next door is a small retreat place inhabited by a handful of nuns and 3 monks. This river follows an unusual course. It flows directly through the Dorje Pamo mountain, rather than finding a way around it. The retreat master of this place is a yogi of the Karmakaju school who has been meditating here for the last 24 years. His teacher was Kamo Nobu, who we repeatedly encounter in photos throughout our journey. Kamo Nobu was the greatest yogi of Tibet in the last century. Even the 16th Karmapa chose him as a teacher for the transmission of special Diamond Way meditations of yogis. There are countless magical stories about Kamo Nobu, which tell how far outside the laws of nature he was. When Karmapa escaped from Tibet in 1959, he asked Kamo Nobu to stay in Tibet and keep the yogi tradition alive. He withdrew with a few students back into the mountains, and like this, was able to transfer his knowledge unnoticed by the Chinese. This photo of his closest disciples was taken some 40 years ago. Kamo Nobu died in 1984. This photo shows his 3 main students who came together after his death. On the left sits Sultrim Tachin, the Repa of Lachi. He is considered the first student of Kamo Nobu, who carries on all the qualities of his teacher. Another great yogi of the Kham region, he spent almost his entire life, more than 50 years, in retreat. After his death 5 years ago, he was not burnt as usual, but wrapped in a white cloth and placed in his meditation hut. Only his 2 closest students remained with him and saw how the bundle collapsed more and more into itself from day to day. When they opened it after a week, his corpse had completely disappeared. He had transformed the vibration of his body during the dying process into energy, accomplishing the rainbow body. This child is considered to be his reincarnation. The 2 greatest lamas of the Nyingma tradition in the recent history of Kham. The lama on the left is Jigme Phuntsog, the founder of Serta Larung. Seta Larung is the largest Buddhist facility in Kham. In this mix of monastery and retreat center live an estimated 20,000 monks and nuns. The Chinese apparently assess such a large number of trained Tibetans as a threat to internal security. 5 years after the founder of the facility died, they tore down a part of Seta Larung with bulldozers. We come back to the holy lake, Yelhon Latso, to visit the yogi who our taxi driver showed us a picture of weeks ago. His name is Lama Dorgyal. This man from a village on the lake told us a story which took place the previous winter. Lama Dorgyal went onto the freshly frozen lake. Because the ice was still very thin, he broke through and sank to his head in ice-cold water. A woman saw this accident and called for help. After 2 hours, the rescue team arrived. After another hour, they had Lama Dorgyal freed from the ice, and it took another 2 hours until they had him warmed up again. Normally in this icy water, a man would freeze to death after 5 minutes. Lama Dorgyal survived this hypothermia without becoming ill. Behind these trees, 50 meters above the lake, is his hut. To the locals, Lama Dorgyal is known as the Barefoot Lama because he has not worn shoes for the last 25 years, even in winter or when he travels. He tells us about the special characteristics of this place, of gates in the rocks, and of wolves and snow leopards which live in the area. We brought some prayer flags as a gift for Lama Dorgyal, which he immediately has his students hang. As we are just about to fasten the second end of the line, Lama Dorgyal takes the initiative himself. He is 64 years old. When Lama Dorgyal finds pictures of the Karmapa and Guru Rinpoche on the prayer flags, he decides that it must be hung at the highest point in the area. These two young monks visit Lama Dorgyal for 2 weeks to receive the first instructions on inner heat meditation from him. They developed a deep confidence in him when a few years ago in their home village, he healed some family members who were seriously ill. Next to this small river, and with temperatures around freezing, the two demonstrate what they have learned in the last 14 days. Both have only recently begun their training in a Buddhist university and had no meditation experience before this meeting with Lama Dorgyal. After a brief period of concentration, they start by pouring ice-cold water over their heads. Due to the cold, goosebumps form in an instant. However, the muscles do not twitch during the entire half hour that these two are practicing. Later, they tell us that even though the body displayed the typical reaction to cold, their mind did not interpret this phenomena as cold. Quite the contrary. They experience a pleasant warmth during the meditation, although at their first attempt, they had to immediately stop the meditation after the first ladle of water. A photograph of Lama Dorjal in his younger years, when he began the inner heat practice. Lama Dorjal explains to his students the advanced form of this meditation. One learns to consciously control the movements of energy in the energy channels in the body. We left Lama Dorjal and the mystical world of the yogis in Tibet.
Jeju